Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Talking Bullion. Well, today we're going to talk about a pretty important topic, in my humble opinion, and that's junk silver, constitutional silver, 90% silver, and why you should stack it. But more specifically, why should you stack silver dimes? I think this is a really important part of a stacking strategy, and I want to tell you why. So why don't we go ahead and take a look. Alright, so I got some dimes here we're going to talk about momentarily. But first of all, we should cover that silver dimes are anything from 1964 and before. So in 1965, they stopped making 90% silver, and they call them clad coins now. Copper and other items in there to make them. But anything 1964 and before are 90%. Just some classic American coinage. The Roosevelt dime was made from 1946 to 1964. The Mercury dime, the beloved Mercury dime, people love that coin, was made from 1916 to 1945. And the Barber dimes were made from 1892 to 1916. And of course there were dimes before that, but in today's modern era, those are about the only ones you're going to see unless you're willing to spend a lot of money to get some old, decent coins. Out of all those dimes I just mentioned, the Roosevelt dimes, the ones made between 1946 and 1964, tend to have the most silver in them because they were the least circulated. A lot of them were held back and they just weren't being passed around much and being used, not as much as the Mercuries and the Barber dimes. And I've got a few different rolls here. We're gonna weigh them in a few minutes. We're going to see what the difference is between some Rosies and some Mercuries. I do have a roll of Barber dimes, but they're not in the same container, so we probably won't weigh those. But rest assured, if we look at this roll, you can see how far down it is. These have some definite wear on them, but we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Even though Mercury dimes tend not to have as much silver in them, they're highly sought after. Most people, if they had a choice to pick between a roll of Mercury dimes and a roll of Roosevelt dimes, they would take the Mercury dimes. They're just an awesome coin. I love them myself. The Mercuries are really cool. One of my favorite coins for sure. So as long as we're talking about that, why don't we go ahead and weigh a couple of these rolls and just see. All right, I got my little scale here. See if we can get it on the screen so you can see the numbers on it. Sometimes that's the biggest challenge. Let me turn it on. Make sure it's in. Let's put it on grams. Let's just weigh, instead of troy ounces, let's just see how many grams they weigh. Alright, so I got to set the grams. Can you see it? Yep, let's go ahead and tear it out. Make sure it goes to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lids off. I'm going to assume that all these plastic tubes are the same. That's a Mercury. Here's a Roosevelt. So let's go ahead and weigh a roll of Roosevelts. Let's see what that comes out to. We've got 132.1 grams. Okay, and you can see how high those things come in the tube. Almost to the top. Very little wear. I thought I had another Rosie. I could always just pull it out of the box, but maybe not that important. These should be Mercuries. Alright, that is a roll of Mercuries. So we can see here how far down they are in the tube, indicating more wear, less coin. So let's weigh that up. That works out to 127.7. So that's a difference of 4.4 grams. And that's a lot. That's almost 2 dimes worth. A dime, a modern day dime, weighs 2.5 grams. So 4.4 grams is a lot of difference. All right, let's just select another tube of Mercuries. Let's do this other M tube that I had. Oh, now this one looks quite a bit higher. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see quite a bit of difference on this one. Let's look at this one. 130.3. So that one's less than 2 grams. All right, so this must be some pretty decent Mercuries in there because I think the first roll I weighed are more common weights, but let's look at this one. Got one more on the Mercs. 130.0, so 2.1 grams difference from the Roosevelts. I think that that's almost a whole dime. Let me see if I can just dig out one more Roosevelt. I should be able to easily see by how high they are in the tube. Let me try this one. This one will be easier to get out. Alright, let's put this back up here. Put this back up here. Tear it back out. Straighten it out a little bit. Alright, let's weigh one more Rosie. See what it comes out to. Alright, there we go. 132.7. So it actually weighs a little bit more than this last tube that I put on there. It was 132.1.2. Alright, so as you can clearly see, the Roosevelt dimes weigh more than the Mercury dimes. And let me just do this. You know why not? Because I'm curious. Let me empty the dimes out of this tube. And let's take these Barbers. This is a roll of Barber dimes. And again, look at how small, how far down that is. See if we can get these in here without making a mess. That was pretty good. Alright. You can see they are way down there. And let's see what this roll weighs. 121.4. So that is quite a bit less. 11 grams less. Wow. So you can see that the Barber dimes have a lot of wear on them. But they're old and people like them. So that's a pretty good demonstration of what, being in circulation does to, all coins really. I mean, you'll see a lot of the older coins, 64 and before, that just have a ton of wear on them. And that's it. Now that doesn't directly relate to silver. A lot of it's the rim off the coin. There's clearly copper in the coin. But it still shows you that the different coins do have different amounts of wear and therefore less grams in it. So if you're concerned about weight, I would be chasing after the Roosevelts. So one of the things I also like about the dimes is they're easy to store. Now I put mine in Guardhouse Boxes, which is taking up more room overall. But I like the organization. I like to know how many I have. Some people store in bags. Some people throw them in Ziploc baggies. Whatever you want to do. But they're really easy to store. They're small. And don't take up a lot of room. Again, $250 face. You can do the math on what this works out to in value at 19 times or 20 times, whatever the going rate is right now. But easy to store. So one of the things I like about dimes is they're fractional. So they're not a whole ounce. If you need to break up an ounce to buy something, you have what really good fractional silver here. And some of you might say, well, how do I know? What's an ounce of dimes? What's an ounce of 90% silver? So really easy way with the dimes is 14 of them. So let me count out 3, 4. There's 4. There's 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 dimes make up 1 ounce of silver. So 14 of these dimes equal same as this 1 ounce silver bar. So if you're in a situation where someone wanted to barter your silver for something and it didn't take a whole ounce, what are you going to do? You're going to cut this in half? You're going to get out your tin snips and try to, get through this thing to break it out so that you don't have to give the whole ounce? You could. It's an option. Or you could just dig out 5, 6, 7, 8 dimes and hand them those. So the way that the dimes are fractional make them really cool and why I like them so much. And a lot of times on the dimes, they're less money. Now they tend to cost as much as the quarters a lot of times, but they are almost cheaper than the half dollars. Now people really like the half dollars of JFKs and the Franklins and the Walkers. But if you're trying to, stack weight and stack good quality weight. So if anything ever comes up, you need to barter or get out quick, the dimes are the way to go. And that's another reason why I like this, is because if I had to get out of my house fast, whether it be a SHTF, a crap hits the fan situation, maybe there's a fire headed our way, maybe a tornado's coming through, whatever reason, it was determined I had to pick up and go and get. I can take this one box and I can move and I can go. And so one of the things I want to do is I got out some of my other 90% Guardhouse boxes and I weighed them up, and I wanted to see, again, if I could only get out of here with one box, what box would I take? Now my mind was, already pretty much knew that I was going to take the dimes because it's smaller and it's fractional and much more versatility. But just out of curiosity, I wanted to weigh the other boxes and see. So let's go ahead and move over to that video and take a look at what I found out. Alright, as you can see, I've got 3 Guardhouse boxes here. The green box are dimes, brown box are $50, and the orange box, get my finger in here, are quarters. So what we're going to do is get the value of each box, the face value, how much is in there in value of dollars, and then we're going to weigh the box to see how much it actually weighs. And let me tell you, these boxes are pretty heavy. So I'm going to start with the quarters first. Alright, I need to be careful. I don't want to slip and drop it and break my glass scale. Okay, I have it on and zeroed out. So let's put the quarters on there and see what happens. Pretty hard to even pick this box up. So here we go. Put it on there as gently as I can. So we're looking at exactly 30 pounds. And how much is face value in this box? This box has $500 face in it. So if you take a look, there's 50 quarters, 50 quarter rolls, and there's $10 in each roll. So that is $500 face. Okay, so let's do the $50 next. Alright, the scale is tared. Let's get this over there and onto there. Put it down. It weighs 16.8 pounds. And the face value in there is $280. So we're going to look. Each roll has $10 face in it. And there is 28 rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. So $280 face. All right. So let's do the dimes next. Okay, the scale is tared out. Let's put it on there. It weighs 15.4 pounds. And how much face value is in there? $250. Let's take a look. We'll see. 50 rolls in there. Each roll has $5 face. So that means there's $250. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 50 rolls. All right, so let me go ahead and get this one off the scale. All right, so why did I do this? What was the purpose of weighing all these boxes? I wanted to demonstrate in the situation where if you had to get out of the house quick for some reason, Could be anything, right? Could be SHTF, could be a fire, could be a tornado, could be really anything. If you had to pick up and go and could only take one of these boxes with you, which one would you take? Okay, pretty cool, huh? So you can see these boxes have a lot of weight. That quarter box is really, really hard to pick up and move now. You might say, it's only 30 pounds, not that bad, but let me tell you, that feels like dead weight. That 30 pounds feels like 50 or 60 pounds. It is really, really heavy to pick up. You know, when it's sitting directly on the floor, it is really hard to get off the floor. So that would be hard to take with you. Now, it has the most amount of money in there. The face value is $500, right? So if you wanted to take more with you, that would be the way that you would go. But I think the dimes just are much more versatile. They break up easy. For, you know, an ounce of silver with quarters, you know, you would have to go to $1.50 instead of $1.40. You'd only have 6 of them instead of 14 of them. Not the biggest deal, right? But again, if I had one choice and I had to go right away, I'd pick up my box of dimes and go, because I just like them, because of the reasons I just laid out. Easy to store, easy to break up in a fractional situation, and not quite as heavy as the other ones. And another pro to dimes is that they're rarely ever faked, right? I mean, the 1916D Mercury dime is the most fake dime, but usually that comes because somebody messes with the mint mark. But for somebody to make up a die or a stamp or something to, fake a dime, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to be illegal. Faking U.S. money is a pretty big offense, and so they're generally not faked, and therefore that means they're respected and trusted. So when you buy these, or you're going to barter with these, or you're going to sell these, people are going to feel very confident that what they're getting is a real thing. Unlike silver bullion, which can be easily faked. Now, for example, this. Now, I don't think these are easily fake necessarily, not like an eagle, but, this is just 1 ounce of silver. And these happen to have a security code on the back that can be easily checked. But bullion is much easier to fake. There goes that one. Bullion is much easier to fake because it can have, cores put in there and different things like that. But these dimes, not easy to fake at all. And not worth the time to fake is probably a better way to say it. I'm sure somebody could fake them, but what's the value in that? Not much. To do a dime that's worth a dime and under $2 in silver value. So anyway, that's a big pro, is the respect and the trust that you can have in buying these things. So one other big pro too is they're limited in quantity. These things are being melted all the time. I'm telling you, this stuff has been taken out of circulation and melted for decades. And if you haven't seen my video I did a few months ago about how rare junk silver is, the big silver melt, you really ought to watch it. I had a lot of people watch that video, and I'm telling you, junk silver is much more rare than I think any of us realize. And for that reason, it's a good collectible silver. It's good in the situation of needing, and it's good for collecting because every day there becomes less and less of it. And in fact, I was preparing for this video, I went out and I looked on some of the online bullion sites because I was going to demonstrate how they were a little bit cheaper. And both Monument and SD Bullion at the time that I'm recording this video did not even have dimes in stock. They were out of stock on their dimes. So that tells you something. That tells you that people are buying, number one, to put them out of stock. And number two, people are not selling, because the only way SD Bullion or Monument can get it back in inventory is if somebody like me sells my stack. And if you're not selling, there is no way to buy it. And I really think that doesn't get a lot of publicity on these things, but understand the only way you can ever buy these is if somebody else sells them, because they haven't been made in decades, right? So I really don't think people get that about 90% silver, but it's true. If every one of us that own it decided to not sell it one day, you'd never be able to buy it again. So I think for that reason alone, it's worth collecting. So in summary, dimes are great fractional silver. Very useful in an STHF situation. They can be found usually for a decent price, and lately they've been coming down. I think they might have went back up when I was out there doing my research for this video. It looked like all the 90% had a little bit more added to the premium, so I'm not really sure what's going on there, and it's probably because they're having a hard time getting it. If it's plentiful, they would lower their price a little bit, I would assume. If it's not, they're going to up the price because they're having a hard time getting it, meaning that, supply and demand is there. I think it's pretty easy to store. This box, this size, now it's pretty heavy, as we saw the weight of it earlier. It's pretty heavy, but easy to store, easy to pick up and grab. I think that to have $250 face ready to go, it's pretty cool. It's rarely faked, as we discussed earlier. The only ones faked are the rarer ones, like the 1916D, and I think the 1921, not as rare as the 1916, but considered a key date, so there might be somebody messing with that one as well. And it's trusted and respected. Silver dimes are loved by many, sought after, and if you ever see them go up on auctions or different places, you'll see that they usually will sell out very quick. People love them, and for all the reasons I just described. Well, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and always remember, let's keep talking bullion.